Hey, hello and welcome to Prime Code Media. My name is Sanama Pena. In this video, I'll be discussing the centering of HTML elements using CSS. There are many ways to center elements. In this video, I'll be focusing on 3 of them, and those are text align, margin, and display CSS properties. The easiest way to center elements is by using the text align property and setting it to center. Here I have 6 paragraph elements as well as an image element. So what I want to do here is to use the text align property to center these elements. The text align property centers elements inside a container. What this means is that in order to center these elements here, I'll have to target their parent element, which in this case is the body. So I am going to target the body using the tag name inside the style sheet here, like so. I'll say body, a set of curly braces, and then the CSS rule will come in here. Remember, what I want to do here is to use the text align CSS property to do what? To center the elements. Now, as you can see, all the elements are centered, and I have managed to achieve this by first targeting the parent element, which is the body. I then went on and used the text align CSS property and set its value to center. Now, what I can also do here is have another parent element inside this parent element, which is the body. For example, I'm just going to delete this here. And then inside the body, I'm going to add a div like so. Let me add a div. And then inside this div, I am going to cut 3 of the 6 paragraph elements and paste them inside the div. Let me cut 3 of these paragraph elements and then paste them inside here. Let me make sure that everything is just well indented. Now we have 3 of the 6 paragraph elements inside now their new parent element, which is the div. Now I am going to target this parent element inside here using the tag name div, a set of curly braces. Once again, I am using the text align CSS property to do what? To center the elements. Now, as you can see, I have now managed to only center 3 of the 6 paragraph elements, and I have achieved this by first adding a div and then cutting 3 of the 6 paragraph elements and pasting them inside this div, meaning that 3 of these paragraph elements now have their own parent elements, which is a div. And then I targeted the div inside here and then used the text align CSS property and set its value to center. By so doing, I have managed to isolate only 3 of the 6 paragraph elements for centering. Next, what I also want to do, I'm going to give this div a gray background color. Let me give it a gray background color. Let's see how gray looks. Now this div has a gray background color. As you can see, it is a block element in that it takes up the entire width and does not allow other elements to sit next to it. Now I want you to see what happens when I specify the width of this element. Let me say the width of this div is 50% of our viewport. Now, after specifying the width, we have now lost our ability to center this element. Now, in a situation like this, what do? Our solution is to use another way of centering elements, and that is the CSS margin property. Using the margin property and setting its value to auto will enable us to center this element horizontally, meaning that between the left and the right margins. Let me use that margin auto. At the top here, I'll say margin. This is the CSS property, and the value is auto. It is only now that we have managed to have the div again centered, and that is by using the margin CSS property and setting its value to auto. But this won't work if the element that we want to center is an image. Let me show you why. First, I'm going to delete all the paragraph elements just to ensure that the only thing that we have inside here is this image. So we only have the image. All the paragraph elements are deleted. Let me also delete everything inside the CSS here. Now I'm going to use the tag name, the image tag name, to target the image img and then a set of curly braces, and then I am using the margin CSS property and then I'm setting it to auto. Now, as I said earlier, as you can see, it's not working. Why is it not working? This is because images are inline elements. Therefore, for us to be able to use margin auto to center this image, first we need to change the display property to block. Let me change the display property to block and see if that will work. I'll say display. This is the CSS property, and then I'll set it to block. Now the image is centered. We have managed to achieve this by using margin auto, but by also ensuring that the image, since it is an inline element, its display property is changed to block. What we can also do is, for example, define the width of the image. For example, if I give this the width of this image 40%, if I set the width is 40% of the viewport. Now what this will mean is that the image will now has equal left and right margins of 30%, which will equal 60 if added, and the entire area will be 100% if the image or the image width of 40% is added. And this is the reason why you cannot center an image that has a 100% width. For example, let me show you what I mean. For example, if I came here and gave this width, this image 100% width, as you can see, the image fills up the screen. Now, if I come up here and comment out this line of code like so, nothing changes. Everything stays the same. But if I come here and change the width to from 100% to 50, for example, now the image is no longer centered, and for us to have it centered once again, we'll have to come here and uncomment this line of code like so. So it's now again centered, and this shows that if the width of the image is 100%, then there is absolutely no need to center it, because that will make no difference. The other way of centering elements is by using the display flags. Remember how we used the text align property to target parent elements? We are going to do the same thing with the display flags. So I am going to come in here and target the body, which is the parent element of this image. And then, but before I go ahead, it is important to note that on its own, the display flags doesn't work. Let me use it just to show you. I'll say display This is the display property, and then I'll set it to flags. Our aim here, before I go ahead, I forgot to comment out this block of code. Now, our aim with this code here is to center this element. So we are supposed to have this image centered by using the display flags, but this is not happening, and this is because on its own, as I said, the display flags cannot center elements. For it to work, we need to add a justify content property and set it to center. Let's add the justify content property. Justify content property, and then we are going to set it to center. Now the image is centered. We've managed to center this image by targeting the parent element of the image, like we did with the text align property earlier, and then we used the display property and set its value to flags, but that didn't work. In order for that to work, we added the justify content CSS property, and we set its value to center. So these two lines of code are the reason why the image is centered like it is right now. Now, for example, if I were to just come here and uncomment this block of code and then scroll down and let me just enlarge this CSS part and then come down here and uncomment the block of code at the bottom here, you'll see that the image is centered. The only difference is that the image this time around has a 50% width. So let me just delete this width here, so everything is now the same. What you are looking at here are two ways of centering elements. We can also use the display flags to center this image vertically. This means between the top and the bottom margin, but this is only possible if the height of the container is larger than the height of the element that we want to center. Let's put this into practice. For example, in order to center this image vertically, I'll have to add the align items property and set it to center. Let me add it here. I'm going to add the align items property and then set it to center. So this is supposed to center this image horizontally, but it doesn't. Let's inspect. First, here I have the image selected, and then if you take a look at this box model right here, you'll see that the height of this image is 167.997 pixels. That is the height of the image. That is the element that we want to center horizontally. Okay, vertically, I beg your pardon. Now let's move on to the image and select the image and see its height. Now here is the height again of the parent element, which is the body. The height is 167.997. So the height of the parent element, which is the body, and the height of the image, which is the element that we want to center, are the same. And that is the reason why we are unable to use this display flags to center this image vertically. So what do? Let us enlarge the height of this parent element. For example, let's just give it a height of 400 pixels and see if there will be a difference. After giving this body a height of 400 pixels, now the image is centered vertically. And this, as I said earlier, is because now the parent element or the container is larger than the element that we want to center, which in this case is the image. And that brings us to the end of our discussion. There are many ways to center elements. In this video, we discussed 3 of them, namely the text align, margin auto, and display flags. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon to be notified when new videos come out. Thank you so much for watching. Until we code again next time, take care. Bye.